going on, my people? Got some more important information for you. So sit back, relax, check it out. Remember, this is for informational purposes only.
You know, they haven't been here thousands of years like our government says. The Greys have really only been here 59 years. Travel capabilities, they've gone back in time and they've been able to manipulate series of historical events to bring us to where we are now, to where we are asking for somebody to come in and save us. And they're already here. And if we ask, because of our free will, will you please save us? Well, then we've asked for it. And we've gotten exactly what it is that we deserved, because we didn't take responsibility as a race to fix our own problems and to deal with our own problems. We kept looking outside of ourselves. And, you know, this is why the Andromedans are so strong about us growing up and really taking responsibility for it.
Now, how many human beings is the Andromeda Council in contact with on Earth? I remember you saying at one time 4.
To my knowledge, they're in contact with 4. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't know if there are more, if there are going to be more. I know there's one in the United States, there's one in South America, one in Asia, one in Europe. But there are other groups that are here, you know, over 170, who may also on some level be talking to people and communicating, whether it's physical or telepathic or through mediumship, you know, dealing with the different spiritual levels. There's a lot of information that's being sent down here.
Are they finding it's effective? Is it working?
To a degree, it's not working as quickly as they want, simply because most people are incredibly apathetic. They're stuck in their 9 to 5. I have to make my mortgage payment. My kids got to get to school in the morning, and I don't give a damn about anything else. And unfortunately, that isn't going to work. It isn't going to save you. It isn't going to protect you. There's so much more going on here, you know, and we are just one small part of this whole picture that's going on, and we have to wake up. Period.
Now, one of your contacts is a 4-foot, 11-inch light blue-skinned being called Theseus.
That's correct.
Please describe his or her personality in detail.
Theseus, well, he's very serious. He's very benevolent. He's considered a sage in his world. He's an incredible healer. He has perspectives on things that are just far beyond anyone that I know. He's very direct. He's very humble. He's very soft. He's very direct. And when he moves into a room, like when I've walked with him or walked with the others, when we walk into rooms or different areas of motherships and the ships, energy changes. People, of course, they're very in touch with energy themselves. They instantly turn and they acknowledge him and they bow. I guess he would be considered an Ishwish or a Yahweh, an Admiral, or I don't want to use the word God. An elder, you know, of tremendous wisdom and insight. And they take very seriously what is going on here. And the manipulations, the things that the Greys, the Orions, and the Reptilians are doing here. They're appalled with what's going on here. The other one is Morane.
Well, let me get to Morane in a second here. You mentioned directness twice. With that in mind, what was the most memorable interaction you have shared with Theseus?
They're all memorable. But I guess the single most, well, there's been 2, one that just occurred. But prior to that, the single most important one was I had just had a contact, and we had spent about an hour or so together, and I was very depressed, very sad. And as I'm leaving the ship, I was crying, and I turned around and I looked at him. And he looked at me and he smiled, and his words were, "The love that you withhold is the pain that you carry." That's been the most memorable one, only because of what that particular statement entails. When we leave our physical form, and you know what many of the Catholicisms teach, you know, you're judged by God. It just simply isn't true. We judge ourselves. And what I read in that statement is that when we cross over, we look at the places in our life where we withheld love, that we maybe didn't give enough. And we judge ourselves on that.
Is there an Earth quarantine that the renegade Zeta Reticulans violated?
Yes.
And what was that quarantine?
The quarantine was they were supposed to, well, it's the same quarantine that evolves, that any other evolving planet has. No intervention with an evolving race. But because of our genetic stock, the Greys did it. Now, but they did it in such a way that they didn't totally violate our free will. You know, they dangled a technological carrot to the government. And the government took the bait. They said, sure, you know, for their own reasons, they took the bait. And there was an exchange of technology, you know, and there was a treaty that was signed. And this is a dilemma that the Andromedan Council has. You know, if the United States military had said, go away, the Greys would have had to have left.
So was this the Air Force Base situation or the Eisenhower situation where he had representatives? Is this the one that took place in the 50s?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and this was with the Long-Nosed Greys.
That's true, and there were two groups there as well. The set from Sirius B, who are still here, were also witnesses to this, to add credence to it.
Okay.
So
now,
and they're also, now just to add to this, the Andromedans have also said that in 1933, when the Greys really first got here, that they had actually approached the Germans, and the Germans said, no, you're out of here. We already have an agreement. And apparently the Germans were in touch with Giza intelligence. So the Greys left. They didn't pursue it at all. And they found their next opening here in the United States.
Let's go digress just a moment. You mentioned Sirius B. They have a relationship with the Dogon tribes in Africa, correct? Is that correct?
Yes, I understand that there is some ancestral genetic connection there.
Okay. Does that play a part in what's going on here on a global level, or is that just a kind of a minor sidelight?
I don't think at this point they give a damn about the Dogons or the humans at all. They all have their own agendas. And the fact that the way we're being treated, and the fact that there's like no supportal information coming out of our government, or any truth that they even want to discuss, like just coming to the people and saying, look, folks, we screwed up. We need your help. We need to raise a consciousness and start implementing. The fact that they don't even want to do that, you know, tells you really, you know, where they're at. What I do know about the Syrians is that between Sirius A and Sirius B, there's a civil war going on there. And a lot of that, and there are also 21 other systems. There's war going on in Perseus as we speak. And 21 other star systems are also looking at the potential. And it has to do with the fact that there is now an uplifting of energy in our universe that's occurring. And the two positives, fear and love, are just banging themselves at each other. And the intensity is growing. It's growing every single moment. And we're just a microcosm of that.
Now, as you're disseminating all this information to us, we should look at all this information in the spirit of love, so we don't feed any energy into the spirit of fear.
Love is the answer. That's the bottom line. Love is the answer. Love does conquer all. Love does move mountains. It can make the shifts in consciousness, but it starts number one with ourselves. You know,
so
that's
even
what
all this is going on around us, we just need to remember to focus on love and
love of self and love of earth, love of race. That's right.
Stay tuned for part 2, y'all. Shit get deep.